Boom, baby, we're live. Welcome to Tokyo Crypto Show, episode 147. Bitcoin is exploding up. Bitcoin is currently at $72,255. Like we've been telling you, when we play all those boring videos and we pull out all these boring charts, so we tell you, like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and you don't pay attention. Well, that's why, you haven't made profit yet, but that's okay. The team is here every week to help you out. Guys, welcome to this professional establishment, which is my YouTube channel. How's everybody doing?
Amazing, man.
Oh,
Bitcoin going up.
I'm doing great.
He made it. You say to us, Alex. How are you, buddy?
Yo. Fabulous. Oh, so good.
Yes. Good. Well, we are ready to roll with today's show. Thank you guys for all being here. Bitcoin is exploding up. I personally believe Q4 is going to end very strong. I think that we have the team has been waiting for this all year, and now that it's here, it's almost surreal. We're just like, Jesus Christ, it's next week. So it boils down to the big event that the whole world is looking at right now is the presidential election. Depending on each candidate, whoever gets in, it's going to go up, but the degree of which it goes up is going to be under one candidate better than the other. We'll talk about that later, but ultimately, the prices now are like ridiculous. Solana touching 180. Bitcoin, did Bitcoin hit 73? It just didn't. It didn't hit 73.
Yeah, 73.6 in my chart.
But it didn't go to all-time high.
It was like $100 short.
Yep.
Okay. So not yet. Not yet. We got the whole team here. How are you guys feeling about the market and everything so far?
It's better than we expected, but pretty much what we expected.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was all like, oh, look, it could continue, but we've got a low scheduled for the election, which would be day 60, which is nice and neat. So, let's just temper expectations. End of the year, we look out for it. And then Bitcoin's like, no, I want to go now. I want to go.
Yeah.
So we're up. We're looking at, if we were to close right now, then I'd be like, we're absolutely off, just because I'd be looking at the weekly closing price. So if Bitcoin closed right at this price, it would be the highest price it's ever closed at on the week. But
really, in history,
yeah, ever. So that's if it closed right now. Now we're sort of just over halfway through the week, so we've still got plenty of time left, so we can't sort of count that. But this, it's pretty much an all-time high.
Yeah,
pretty much. And so, and there's too much sort of bullish things going on to suggest that this is not a double top, and that this is in fact just preparing for, just to sort of run away. And that's when, like, as soon as we break an all-time high, we might get like a couple of days up and then a retest of the all-time high, and then off we go, sort of thing, some sort of little pattern. But sort of the month or so after that break, maybe 2 months, is going to be, that'll probably be where the most gains really are made, especially in the shortest amount of time. Like, that's just going to go. So it's good.
That cycle, right after Bitcoin broke the all-time high, it was like, at that time it was like $20,000. So like all of December 2020, like every day you would wake up with Bitcoin with one extra $1,000 to its price. So I agree with that. Last couple of years, this last couple of weeks for the year, I probably have some big gains.
Mm-hmm. MicroStrategies. Henry's a stock guy. He's in your neck of the woods, Steve. And I know what the first one is. That's MicroStrategies. What are those second two? Does anybody know?
Marathon is a mining stock. BITF is a 2x BTC ETF. So it's double.
Interesting. Yeah, man. There's money to be made right now. Anybody else comment on market? Steve, you want to talk about what's going on in the stock market?
Same outlook as before. I still remain bullish. It's interesting. The whole team generally was stating that our most bullish time period would actually be Q3 and Q4 if this bull run was really going to happen. And so far, that's actually coming true right on the nose. If you were to go back and sort of check the updates that we always do earlier in these live calls. But you know, in the stock market side of the world, company earnings have continued to come out strongly. Company earnings still are showing growth. It has not slowed down, contrary to what the bears have been saying now for probably coming over a year. If you listen to some of the louder voices, GDP has been fine. Wages, at least for Americans who are in the upper middle class and the more wealthy, admittedly the ones who are investing, still strong, and jobs are being added to the economy at a greater rate than job losses are happening. Fed rates have come down. I personally expect them to continue to go down for the remainder of 2024 and early 2025. What's interesting, however, about this as well, and this is a little bit more new on the news cycle, but the Federal Reserve of all things is tightening their balance sheet. They wouldn't be doing that if they were scared. If the Federal Reserve was in full-blown panic mode, hitting the alarm bells, they would be expanding the balance sheet as much as possible. However, we have come to a stock market all-time highs, a healthy bond market, with the Federal Reserve actually tightening its balance sheet. So that actually only adds to my own bullishness. Global rates have been coming down as well in Canada and in Europe as well. Japan is the outlier, but that's because they're trying to strengthen the yen. The 10-year yield, which is another thing that we look at, has been remaining within reason. Again, of course, we always want a lower yield. If you compare it to earlier yields that we've had throughout 2023 and 2024, the current yield is actually within a very comfortable, considerably lower range, which of course is still good news for us. I know some bears might bring up what happened in the summer. I mostly leave that to the yen carry trade briefly unwinding, as well as one poor manufacturing report that came in that was in no small thanks to the hurricane that happened last summer in Texas. On the more crypto side of it, regulators in general have been lightening up. Both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have given positive and warm statements towards crypto. More so Trump, though. And institutional involvement still remains. BlackRock is still keeping their holdings. Vanguard is. All these groups that have been setting up these ETFs still remained positioned the same before. Remember, they have teams of thousands of people, thousands of trained economists, financiers, people who've been doing this for years, and they decided that they haven't panicked once, no matter what the market's been doing, no matter whether Bitcoin was in the 55,000 range, 65,000 range, now approaching 73,000. They haven't budged. So our same outlook remains. I'm reiterating the position that I've held before. Just my view, but yeah, that's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, very thorough. I mean, I just think it really grasps the sentiment of the market right now. If you actually know what you're doing and you're not making money in this market, you actually don't know what you're doing. Quite frankly, like it's a pretty friendly climate right now to make a little bit of money here and there. Okay, Alex, I think because basically before you came in here, I was just saying that basically, I think the biggest thing we're looking at is the election, and then Bitcoin, whatever Bitcoin does is going to be a crucial moment in the bull market, because we've all been waiting for Bitcoin to do something since fucking March, and now here we are. So it's like it seems to be a new price discovery, maybe starting. I don't know, but take it away. It's all up to you.
Well, it's just if things were super sad. In fact, we should probably, if someone could pull up the Fear and Greed somewhere, just to have a look at, to compare what it was in March to now, because it's always good to look back and see, like, well, if we're at an all-time high now, how is everyone feeling about it? And I think people are more greedy than fearful at the moment, but it's certainly not the level of, well, nowhere near the level of euphoria that we were experiencing back in March. Yeah. So let's have a look.
66 greed.
Yeah, so we're at 66 greed, but we were in the extreme zone in March. So that's a good sign. If price is high, but everyone's kind of like, oh yeah, whatever, that's usually good. That means people feel like the price isn't as high as it's not at the point where they think, oh God, I gotta sell. So that is just one indicator for us, everyone at home, just to check in from every now and again. Let's pull up, our charts. So yeah, I mean, we've cleared this, which is great. we were over here, which is great. Like you can sort of see things. I actually had all the way up here a price last week that was at about 71.5, being like, oh well, 60-day cycle, so maybe it'll just come down. And I deleted it. It was on the show, and then bang, we went up. It went straight.
Don't doubt yourself. Don't
exactly. Beautiful. I mean, we've had our bags packed for ages and ages and ages, so it's sort of inconsequential. But it was really nice to see, because last week we were talking about how we've broken the all of a sudden we've had a right translated cycle, which is we've been having continuous left translated 60-day cycles with a peak earlier on, like before halfway. We've been having continuous lower highs on the weekly chart, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. And now we had a right translated cycle. So last week we were saying, oh, the structure appears to be changing. And then bang, we've cleared the lower high structure. We've actually cleared 2 of the lower highs, and we're 3 of them. We're like pretty much back at the all-time high price. So the structure is very much saying, hey, I've changed. I'm no longer going down. I'm not going sideways. So I'll let you think about whereabouts I might be looking to go right next. So this is really, really, quite fabulous. We had a breakout Solana versus Ethereum, which was really strong last week. We've pulled back down again, but we're still looking good. Ethereum continues to break down against Bitcoin. We've lost this big level here. You've heard us in the last few weeks talking about how
fucking over. It's over.
Yeah, like I mean, Ethereum's got a good mind share. There's plenty happening on Ethereum, but the price is just telling us, like, I am not planning on doing much. So why be there? Why be there? Our current framework, or at least mine, is we've got Bitcoin, we've got the memes, and then the memes are on Solana, so Solana will go well. So I mean, there's obviously more. That's like a super reductionist kind of view of it all, but that's the current framework I'm operating in. So we've got Bitcoin. Solana is sort of a leverage play on Bitcoin because I think it'll outpace it. And then any meme coins are a leverage play on Solana, which is a leverage play on Bitcoin. So I've structured my portfolio as such. Last week I'd moved pretty much all my Ethereum out, and then I was just sort of doing a bit more closer timing in the last week, and I've since essentially completely thrown Ethereum away. And rebalanced everything, which was a really good idea. I think someone posted on Twitter like, oh, if you swapped, or if you own Solana in the last 24 hours, you've outpaced the last 12 months of Ethereum. So that should continue to happen into the future based upon the fact that Ethereum is just breaking down against all these other cryptos that we've been looking at. So will it make money versus USD? Probably, but if it doesn't outpace Bitcoin, just own Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, everything else is sort of just starting to come up. I mean, Solana was at about this level. Well, no, it wasn't actually. Solana was last year at Christmas. Solana was only about 120, and now we're pushing up above. What do we get to? 183 this week. So, Bitcoin will go first, and then everything else will follow afterwards. So this is all looking good. Like,
what would you say your short-term price target for Bitcoin is?
Well, once it breaks out, there is nothing stopping it from 2 weeks from flying anywhere from. We could get to 85, 90 in by the end of the year, really, if it wants to keep charging ahead. But like, we'll see. We shall see how we go, level by level. But usually, once there's a breakout, if you look at like the previous, let's see if this can zoom out enough. Like as soon as we broke out, this is what I love, because we had 1, 2, 3. 4th time through, come down to retest, and then it just kind of flew. So once we've gone above here, like in a very short time, 24 weeks, it went up 354%. But you have this first run that was only like 10 weeks, and it went up, nearly 200%, which is a 3x. Or is it 2x? Am I crazy? 2x?
2x.
3x. 100% is a 2x?
Yeah.
Is it 2x? 3x. 2.9x. So you got 2.9x in 10 weeks, which is like what? 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to be breaking out in November, you might end up in somewhere in January. But we still, if we're going like, 60-day cycles, how can we reconcile that? We might be getting, because once again, what we've said is that a 60-day cycle is never 60 days. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean, probably 99% of the time, it's not 60 days. So the bullish ones tend to run longer. The bearish ones tend to run shorter. So we've now gone deeper. Last week we had like, oh, look, it's a day 45 high, perfectly timing. And now we've chugged ahead. So if we were to just do a quick little count here. We have a day 53. So the 60 days might end up being something closer to 70, which I've got this StreamYard sharing thing, so I can't see the thing. Yeah, there we go. Nice. So if we were to go to like 70 days or 75 days, you know, we might see something not until the 15th of November or something. I might get a nice birthday present on the 12th, a nice low to buy some more. So at this stage, if you're in, cool, things are looking great. If you're not in, feel free to buy. You can try and time some sort of low coming up. But when you're looking at it, I mean, it's up to you to make the call where I go like, okay, Solana, well, maybe it'll come down in a week to 170. Maybe it'll come down to the 160s, maybe even 150. But if I'm wrong and it just wants to keep going up in 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, it might be back at an all-time high or at least above 220. And so you sort of got to think, should I try and be cute with the timing or should I just get the position? And we've all had the positions for ages and ages and ages. Like since we first did the first episode of the show, most of us already had everything allocated and we've just been doing some trades and moving it across as we go. So this is really exciting. It's really positive. We've been looking forward to this I mean, as John said, since at least March, but like, I mean, for as far as a 4-year cycle thing, we've been looking at this since 2022. Since the low, we've been looking forward to this kind of breakout happening at this time. So everything is still operating on the clock. I'll say it's pretty much become a canned line at this stage. The bull thesis is still intact. We're all looking really good. I'm actually very excited. I mean, when I say excited, I'm not like jumping out of my seat going crazy about it. I think, a 66 greed is probably a good indicator. I'm positive, but I'm certainly not euphoric. This is just sort of getting starting. We've got the US election coming up. I'm of the mind, once again, as John said, it doesn't really matter who wins, but who wins will affect probably the level of volatility that we get. So, yeah, it's all looking really, really, really good. Yeah, you guys have any questions or something?
I want to hear James's thoughts on
me too.
The price. James is the hyperbole for all of us.
Yeah.
But he's also the most experienced and keeps us out of the most trouble in the chats. So I think we'd be a whole different group if you were not here, James, to ground us with your experience.
I agree with everything you guys were saying, that we've been kind of, since we made the top here in March of this year, it's been just moving sideways somewhere between 55 to 70, and it's just been shaking people out, right? So people that thought we were going to go higher earlier have been either disappointed or they are going to be hardcore believers at this point, right? So they're not going to get shaken out. And people who bought at 55, some of the local lows over the year or over this year has been sitting pretty at 72 now. So they're not going to get out, right? So now we're just kind of waiting for the new money to come in, and all this money is sitting on the sidelines, all based on U.S. election next week, right? So when we take off, my local supply top would be 75. Once Bitcoin breaks through 75 and goes up, then after that, maybe a slight pullback either at or above 75. I think we can safely call that we're back on the bull cycle, right? But we've been consolidating since March. So this is actually a good sign, right? You don't want things to go up just straight like a rocket ship, because when it comes down, it's going to crash, coming down crashing all the way to the bottom, right? So this about 6 or 7 months of consolidation gave us a good base, and it shook out all the paper hands or the lettuce hands. So now people that are on board are hardcore believers. Yeah. So now the new money comes in, this thing's gonna go.
Yeah, man. The MIT presentation I played a couple of 2 weeks ago or so, he talked about it. He says after the halving is initiated, which was on 4/20 this year, 6 months later is when the reserve dries up, the reserve Bitcoin, and then you start getting a supply shock, and then that's when it sends into price discovery. And they say usually it overcorrects upwards and overcorrects downwards and then finds equilibrium right in time for the next halving.
Yeah, this is when things go crazy, it's going to go much higher than we think it will, right? And once they start coming down, it's going to go much lower than we think it would, right?
Yeah.
We tend to underestimate. And on the news front, another traditional finance news front, MicroStrategy has just announced that they're going to spend $42 billion over the next 3 years, $21 billion in stock sales, and $21 billion in bond issue to buy Bitcoin. $42 billion over the next 3 years.
Yeah. No, it's good times. And like I said, that supply crunch is happening right now. You're witnessing it in real time. It just happens to coincide with the presidential election. I feel like this price would be flying a little bit more if the election wasn't on the horizon, quite frankly.
Yeah, there's a lot of shy money that's sitting on the sidelines. That's kind of waiting.
Yeah. I want to read what Elias sent us. Elias can't be here right now. He's somewhere in the world building a mining facility. But basically what he has sent me says the total network hash rate has jumped about 10% in the last 2 weeks, which is good. It says due to now higher Bitcoin prices, a lot of machines in the US that were previously non-profitable are now profitable again with their fleets of Bitmain's Model S19s. So it means their Bitcoins are becoming profitable again. So these other guys can turn their units on and kind of get the network going. And when the network is going, that's really where you can see that there's a lot of activity, and that's very bullish in general. He says, if Trump wins, BTC goes up to 75K or more, these miners will stay online, which is bullish for Bitcoin because miners have to sell less of their rewards and can hold them for greater returns. If Kamala wins or BTC stays below 75K, they will likely switch the miners off again. We see a slump in hash rate and might add selling pressure if big miners can't raise more VC money and have to sell to keep everything working. So, yeah, it's looking good though. I personally think, yeah, we're just gonna find out a lot. I think the biggest thing that's in the front of everybody's consciousness right now is the election going to be legitimate. I don't know. Maybe that's a biased thing for me. Bitcoin has been taking over the Mindshare. I'll show you this too. I think this is because of price activity as well. Take a quick look here and I'll show you guys. So as you can see, this is on the 7-day. This is the token Mindshare. And as you can see, Bitcoin is typically at the top, 15%, then ETH 11, and then Solana 8. This is how it's been consistently all year. This has been the ranking. I think ETH is just there because it's just been around longer. GOAT is obviously the AI token that's been going there, and a lot of meme tokens. Pepe's up here. I think Ape is a meme coin too. Popcat, Fog, Mudang is back on the rise. I would stay clear of that though. But if you look at the 24 hours with the recent price activity, big change in more people talking about Bitcoin. And then actually, let me see. I think it was 48. It was 18%. Yeah, this is when we had a little bit of a closer to 20% on Bitcoin. But you can see, like we were saying earlier, like people are kind of, already like normalized with Bitcoin at 72. Like we're all fried out on dopamine. We've been chasing money all year. We need something bigger than 72K Bitcoin to get us off our rocker. I think the big psychological number everybody's looking at is still like, the coveted 100K. 100K. Will Bitcoin smash 100K? I think if Bitcoin smashes 100K, that's when normie retail media money comes in for us to fucking dump on. That's when all the good exit liquidity comes. But that's also once retail is heavily involved, it's only a matter of time before the bull runs over because it's just that critical mass at that point.
Yeah, I mean, from the traditional finance point though, like I think MicroStrategy or Microsoft actually talked about start buying Bitcoins on their putting it on balance sheet. And the other thing I just read a couple of days ago, the state of Florida just proposed start buying Bitcoins for their pension funds. So I mean, the institutional money is nibbling. It's nibbling, right?
Yeah. Proposing. When would this start?
They're proposing. So who knows with the governments, right? So this was end of like a day ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So not only the private companies jumping in, or right, or private or publicly traded, whatever, but now the government and the pension funds are trying to jump in too. So this, it's again, all good signs, right?
State of Wisconsin. That was, I remember that was in May. Yeah.
Yep. Spring.
Just
That's huge
patience.
too, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's massive.
Yeah, I mean, if Trump wins and he's actually serious about adding Bitcoin to the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, which trades in the trillions, all kinds of different assets, the price of Bitcoin will explode, as will the rest of the crypto market, at least my view.
And the other thing he talked about was something about either eliminating some income tax or reducing income tax for the different income brackets, right? I mean, that's again, that's liquid retail liquidity that could be coming into the market also. I mean, there's a, like John said, the global liquidity cycle says it's going to go up. It's just a matter of who wins and who's more favorable to drive the market up higher.
Also, with the topic of uncertainty, markets typically hate uncertainty, which is why leading up to the election, the price was all a crabby pattern where it wasn't going up or down. This week is kind of an anomaly. That's why everyone got so excited, because Bitcoin just decided to start pumping out of nowhere. But
yeah, because like you said, the uncertainty has gotten less, right? Because as you saw from polling and the market, the betting markets, polymarket data, that Trump is over 60%, where Kamala is at 30. So he's 2-to-1 odds that he's going to win this election. And Bitcoin's kind of saw that as there's a less certainty now of the election outcome. I think that's one of the reasons they start pumping.
And also, with keeping on that topic, with Trump promising that he would be able to end the war on Ukraine and on Israel, like before even he got into office, like if that were to happen, a lot of people who are currently like scared and saving up money in case of an apocalypse or something would now be more like relaxed to gamble it all in crypto. So yeah, that's even more catalyst for retail money to come in.
In trad markets, there's been this consistent crisis premium for every asset, particularly oil. Even like every time the Middle East heats up a bit, no, seriously, every time the Middle East heats up a bit, or there's some like new attack in the battlefield in Ukraine, oil pops up a bit. The stock market wants to dip down a bit, but then the nukes don't go off, and everybody's still alive. So the market recovers maybe 5 days later and oil goes back to dumping because the Chinese economy is failing. But no, there's this consistent crisis premium. So if we put one of these two, either Israel and Iran or, Ukraine and Russia to bed, then I would say that's another reason to be bullish. That's more that sideline money, so to speak, getting into the game. The price of gold's been surging. That's a huge indicator of everybody being scared. See, there's so many reasons to be bullish because the economy is doing reasonably well. As we mentioned earlier, earnings is up, GDP's up, but there's so much shit going on in the world that all the crisis assets like gold, like Brent oil, keep wanting to pop higher every time there's a lick of bad news. It's a bit of a strange market to be trading, to be completely honest, but again, either of these big issues go to bed.
Yeah,
that will help things.
It really is because I don't know. Did you see that something leaked today on one of the political Twitter accounts that I follow, and it showed that ABC, they accidentally showed Kamala Harris already winning Pennsylvania, 52-47 Harris, with the blue check, with the check mark, everything showing like she had already won that state. So who knows if because the biggest thing for me, the biggest X factor in my entire trading plan is, is this election going to be legitimate or not? Because everybody knows if it's legitimate. I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody else here doesn't think about that. But anyways, this is what I'm talking about. ABC accidentally airs election result test showing Kamala winning Pennsylvania by 5% during Formula One race. So that's my only X factor, because everybody knows if Trump gets in office, it's just going to be monumentally better for crypto. This current administration in the United States of America has been terrible for crypto, in my opinion. Gary Gensler has denied, he did approve the ETF, but he denied it 3 times before he did. So I don't know. I am optimistic. I do think we're going to make profits, but I just want to make fucking huge money. I want Trump in. I want to fucking see it do some crazy shit.
It's not only crypto, like everything. Like when the economy in general is in a better state, everything starts to pump. Even like the job market, like back when Trump was in office, at least, for example, in my field, the software development market, people were hiring software developers just to prevent the competition from hiring them, because the economy was so good and people were able to take such cheap loans that they were able to pay the salary, and they were what they called as ghost positions, where you were basically hired just to sit in a room without anything to do. Then the COVID crash came and a lot of layoffs started happening, and it didn't help that the rest of the entire economy was being shit on by Biden and his administration. So if Trump comes back in and he like fixes the rates and fixes the economy, it's not gonna happen overnight, but it's not only crypto that's gonna pump, but a lot of more job openings will start popping up. And if a lot more people get hired, they're gonna have more money to spend and thus drive the price up even further.
Well, we got a lot riding on this week, man. That's just, I want this fucking week to be over with. I think a lot of people are, all the people I know that are, managing larger portfolios. I'm talking 8 figures and up. A lot of these guys are in the sidelines, just kind of waiting to see what's happening. But I tell you what, man, if this motherfucker pulls it off, this guy gets in office, we're gonna make some fucking money. We are gonna make some motherfucking cash. If not, it's just gonna be more grind, more, just head down and work. But I think, just mathematically speaking too, it adds up. Alex, you want to share this?
Yeah, it's just something for everyone to keep a look at. So we've got the stock market, and then there's the housing market. And typically the housing market will run, peak, and go sideways, and then as it's sort of starting to do its drop, also as it's going sideways, like it's already made its peak, the stock market will then sort of take the next leg up, and then that'll go running. So we've got property peaks, and then stocks peak, and then everything falls over and shits the bed. So something to keep a look at wherever you're living, if you're looking in the paper, if you're looking online, is for articles like this. Like this was just from today. So PricewaterhouseCoopers, the ex-boss, is selling his $16.5 million mansion. We've got the Maya Group, which owns sort of the Maya retail chain stores, but they own billions and billions of dollars of companies. They're one of the sort of the big ones. They've had this house. Oh, great opportunity. We've had this house in our family for over 70 years, the $100 million plus mansion. You'll start seeing these massive, massive properties just pop up for sale, because these people, if you think that the people who control billions and billions and billions of dollars of companies across the world, or the people who do all of the finance and accounting for these companies all across the world, if you think that they might not have sort of a bit of a mind for the future, like they're in it, they know what's coming, they know what's happening. And so when you start seeing them offload their assets into cash, that's the time where you should be thinking like, oh, hold up, if if all of the rich people are selling, should I be buying? Should I be buying a house right now? Is that the best thing? Also, they know that you can't sell a $16.5 million or $100 million property when the market is just absolutely tanking. There's no buyers. You can't borrow any money. There's just nothing you can do. So they know if I sell for $100 million today, in 5 years' time, I can buy it back off that poor motherfucker for $35 million if I wanted to. And that money they can then take and they can either use it to buy gold and just sort of sit tight on it, or they can then put it into the stock market and enjoy the run that goes up. The My Group, very famously, they sold all their shit. And then in the 90s recession, they came in and they went, we're going to remodel all our department stores. We're going to bring the economy up. How nice are we? Everyone went, oh, God, Maya's the greatest. They're giving all people all these jobs, all this sort of stuff. They rebuilt all the department stores for like a tenth of what it would have cost them to do it any other time. Because these people know exactly when to time these sorts of things. So keep an eye out. When you start seeing massive things be offloaded, that's sort of a sign that maybe property's done. And this money then is going to go into the stock market, and the stock market's going to go absolute bananas. And then everyone's going to have a terrible time because it's all going to go to freaking... But we can enjoy the ride as it goes. So just keep in mind, there is more markets than just the stock market going on. I mean, as we know, but we focus on crypto here, but the sort of the world economy is all very much linked together. So it's important to know. So my main takeaway is property goes first, then the stock market, and we're seeing big players offloading their stuff that's related to property. And so sort of keep in mind on the future, we all believe that we are looking forward to a nice stock market run in the coming thing. So this is just another piece of evidence that we can sort of use for our view. But yes, keep an eye out for that. You'll see it in the paper. Also, no crypto articles in the paper still.
Yeah, I think, like I said, you know, just looking at, because this is a chart that me and Elias put together before even this group was put together. Me and Elias put this together in 2022. But yeah, this is what we're at right now. We've exited the accumulation phase and we're now in the bull market spot. We're in the bulls phase for sure. And we have it, Elias and I were thinking we were going to see a high either in March or May to de-risk here. But moreover, our analysis, we think it's going to peak maybe in August of 2025. Again, at the end of the day, nobody knows what's going to happen. That's the truth. Nobody knows what's going to happen. But we've been pretty good with our predictions. James, you have a more bullish outlook. Do you think we're going to be like 120 by the end of the year? You said.
Yeah, that's my thinking is that when this thing takes off, because it took so long to build a base, I think this is going to skyrocket to about somewhere between 120 to 150, maybe a little bit optimistic, going into December. And I think I'm kind of with you guys on the thinking that maybe March, April, it's going to start its major correction. And over the summer, it's going to correct a little bit, then have a blow off top probably, November, December next year. So we're going to see probably two tops like we might saw last couple of years or last couple of cycles. So if you guys are looking to get out, have the timeline in mind that, hey, and the target price, right? So if you're thinking that you're going to get out, 120,000, 150,000, 200,000, whatever, always have an exit in mind. But yeah, I'm thinking that would be somewhere like 120, maybe a little bit more, end of the year, going into spring.
I just wish I could be that bullish. For me, my 100K is 85K. If we get 85K, I'm so traumatized. That's why I have a lot of unhealed trauma from being in cryptocurrency for 3 bull cycles. But if that was numbers, that's going to be
from last October to January. It went from what? It doubled from 25 to close to 45, so it's less than double, right? So 75 to 120, it's less than double. And that was just on the news of ETF. There wasn't any, major election or any of that stuff, right?
Well, again, the big thing is the election. The election is the big thing. I think a lot of people are really, even I think especially a lot of retail is trying to see, who wins before they touch anything financial, because finances are the biggest problem on this ticket right now. I think the economy is the number one thing, and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and I think we're still early. Looking at the volume, I mean, volume just been down all the way since last major volume was let me see here. Look at the chart.
I got August.
A year ago, last October through December last year, that's when the major volume came in, and it's just been really low since then. So I think we're still early until we start seeing, the volume come into the market. I think we're good.
What kind of volume are you looking for, though? Like, what kind of numbers? And into what exactly? Bitcoin?
Yeah, into Bitcoin.
You share your screen so we can see what you're saying.
Yeah, and James, I'm interested. Where do you get your volume from? Because I've had the issue where every single chart has its own amount of volume, so I have to kind of go through all of them and kind of get a bit of an average.
Yeah, I just look at the trading view, Binance volume. Probably the biggest exchange, right?
Cool.
Give me 1 second. You guys see it?
Right here. There we go. I'm gonna make it full screen.
Yeah, we kind of see here we're at what? Do you see where we were, right? Last year.
What is this? This is the weekly?
Yeah, weekly.
Yeah, it just drops off.
Yeah, it just drops off. We're just very minimal volume. Look at it. Like nothing, right? So I would say I want to see at least double or triple the volume we're doing now. Again, it's just on Binance, right? Just look at Binance as the major indicator, since it's probably one of the biggest exchanges. So yeah, I mean, there's no volume anywhere, especially on Binance. I mean, you figure people will be buying it off what? Binance, Kraken, and Coinbase, right?
Yeah.
Even if you look at Coinbase.
Yeah, but let's have a look, because your chart was Bitcoin US dollar. I'm just on CoinGecko. It says a Bitcoin USDT and Bitcoin FD are the between those two, that's 10% or 11, nearly 12% of all the Bitcoin trading is.
How about the Bitcoin on Binance USD?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That doesn't pop up as one of the. As one of like sort of the top 10.
Okay, there's a USDT on Binance.
Yeah, USDT.
Same thing.
Okay, well there you go. Then. Cool.
Yeah, there was no volume, guys. I mean, look at it.
That's actually quite stark.
Yeah. So until we see this volume ramp up here, we're still early. You see how volume kind of leads the price, right?
Yeah.
The volume went up, we bottomed out, then it shot up, right? So volume is almost like a fuel for this rocket ship. And so until we see volume come back, I think we're still early and we're still in the accumulation phase.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We're definitely still in a good position. The biggest thing is, like I said, biggest thing is the election. After that, we're going to really have way more indicators and more clarity on what is going to happen.
Yeah. Because even though Donald Trump is leading as far as Polymarket's concerned, like I remember the show that we did just after the first assassination attempt. And I remember saying that we'll see where we're at in 2 weeks' time, because everyone, like, if the election was held today, Donald Trump would win, because everyone is just so like buzzing about him. But we'll see what's happening in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks later, they didn't really talk about it anymore. Like, it was just all of a sudden gone from the public consciousness. So right now, we're seeing Kamala just like absolutely fall down. Even the media here in Australia is absolutely just ragging on her all the time, looking for any sort of excuse. Whereas they were actually quite positive at the initial time. So it seems like everyone's kind of made their decisions ahead of time. But we'll still see where we're at in 2 weeks. We got it's Thursday, so a little less than 2 weeks before Election Day. So we shall see.
She even reacted a Joe Rogan appearance. Like, this political suicide in this age.
JD Vance on this upcoming week too.
He's going into Joe Rogan.
Yes, he's up. I think he's on Friday. Yep. So they're going double header, and I think they're going to talk about how it was because it was definitely shadow banned on YouTube. Yeah. There was a huge scandal, and they said like there was a massive shadow ban. It was marked as extremely low quality content behind the algorithm.
But did you notice that it was only shadow banned through the weekend? Like, and even still, it got 40 million views. If it hadn't been shadow banned, it would have probably gone into like 150 or 200 million views, because people were like looking for it everywhere. I think I heard that Elon Musk contacted Spotify so that they could get the rights to post it on X as well, and it's got a bunch of million views in there too. Like it was like, what do you say in English? Like, I don't know what expression, but like way too out in the open, how they like casually this particular video had to be shadow banned. Like there's no way it was like a coincidence.
Yeah. It looks like they actually did it today, so it was recorded already. We're just waiting for
it'll be out tomorrow. Then they're pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say though, from a marketing standpoint, sorry, I'm just going to drag this back into politics because that's in the front of my mind.
The election.
First things first. Also, all you guys are welcome. I'm going to be doing a 24-hour election stream. So, if any point during, if you want to see me, come just hit me up, send me a text, say drop the link. I'll drop it in the link. I'm gonna have girls come through to the show in the studio too. We're gonna ride this bitch all the way to the end, either triumphantly or hanging our heads in shame and defeat. But man, they are doing it right. They are the campaign, because Trump markets all the way till election day. He goes every single day. He's an animal. So every day you can turn on some social media and catch some new rally that this man is doing. Kamala cannot even fill a fucking, high school stadium. So they blue balled everybody with Beyonce. They thought Beyonce was going to perform. She just came and said, yeah, you can get an abortion, vote for fucking. And now all the NPCs are like, yes. And then they felt like she was going to do a concert and they didn't. So they're a little jaded. But yeah, man, I think that pretty much, it's not much to talk about. We are just waiting. Next week, you guys are going to see. We're all either going to be elated or depressed. Or engulfed in civil war.
Good luck with that.
I will say if there's going to be a civil war, it's a buying opportunity.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah. And just like Charlie Munger said, the big money is not in the buying or selling, but in the waiting, right? So just be patient a little bit longer.
For civil war, they basically have to steal the election again, because the spread is too big for it to be believable that she would win.
Yeah.
Right?
I was watching Tucker interviewing with one of the former chairman of RNC, and one of the things that he said was very insightful, was that what he thinks is that when they forced Biden out and coordinated Kamala, that Biden almost like said, if you F me, no, F you guys. So he's been kind of sabotaging the whole thing behind the scene, and especially to big FU to I heard it was Obama, Schumer, and Pelosi that forced him out. So he's like, well, yeah, good luck to you guys. I'm gonna sabotage it. So he's been just working for Trump actually since the being forced out. Which makes sense. You can just look at Kamala and Trump, that Trump is firing firing on all cylinders. Kamala just looks like the battered woman, right? I mean, she just had no energy, nothing. I mean, she looks just like there's nothing there. You see her like not when she's not talking. There's like no expression, and this is like there's a hollow look, right? There's thousand yards there just being seen from crap, you know, and there's like no more life left in her. So I think it's gonna, you know, if they said there's gonna be a funny business, I think the election have to be closed for them to kind of pull off any shenanigan. But if it's not even close, I mean, it's gonna be really hard to pull it off.
Yeah, man. The video James is talking about is here. It's a long one, but Tucker Carlson, he interviews this guy. I'll put the link in the chat for you guys. This video right here, he talks about how that's why Biden appointed her. That's why they didn't, because Pelosi and them wanted to have primaries, but Biden said, "Fuck it, I'm going to appoint her," because they were going to invoke the 25th Amendment. What was it?
25th Amendment, unfit for president. Yep.
Yep.
It's pretty funny though. It's a very insightful video. It kind of makes sense, like all what's going on the DNC side. Once you kind of watch it.
Yeah, man. I think that's it for us today, guys. We just gotta sit tight. We're gonna have a lot of answers and have a lot more clarity next week when this is done. So some of these guys are probably gonna pop on during the 24-hour election stream. Let's hold on. But honestly speaking, even if it stopped right here, there's tons of money that has been made already. But as James says, you know, we are still early. We are still early.
I'm telling you, this train has not left the station yet, boys.
It's freaking 6:55 a.m.
Yeah.
We're gonna get another penthouse in Tokyo.
Hey, it's been true for the stock market too.
With a private pool, private heated indoor pool.
Crypto yacht party in Japan.
Crypto yacht party. Let's go. All right. I'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.